All right, Lee Teat, Friday main event, playoff postseason edition. I'm Mike Molder. He is Lee Teat. Lee, can we cover 64 games in one show?
Be tight, but we can get it done.
I think we're going to have to be very limited as to how in depth we go on games. So probably games, we were just talking about games like Greenback that the first round wins is inevitable. Much less conversation.
Yes.
Sound good to you?
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Well, let's jump right in it, and we'll get started over in Class 1A, Quad 1. And if you look at that quad there, Lee Teat, one team we just mentioned, obviously Greenback is in this quad. I think they'll be the favorite to come out of this quad. But you got Region 1 champs Cloudland will be hosting Harriman, the Blue Devils. Cloudland is under Glenn White, new
Correct.
head coach this year. So he's one of 6 coaches in Class 1A, first-year coaches league that advanced to the postseason this
That's right.
year.
That's right. I like Cloudland in this game.
I like Cloudland also. I think Harriman is playing better. They lost to Coalfield, Monterey, Oliver Springs, and of course they did lose to Greenback.
That's four pretty solid teams.
Right, exactly. So this may turn out to be a game. Matter of fact, I think Harriman will play with them.
Yeah.
But I like Cloudland to win this one.
Yes,
Second game in the top half of that bracket, Oliver Springs will host Jellicoe. And, folks, as you see our brackets, the top team in each matchup, and I'm sorry they're not real clear. I was just telling Lee I wish I'd realized that it's not quite as easy to read as I thought it would be, but I didn't make the bold print like I should. But anyway, the top team listed in every matchup is the home team. Oliver Springs, the Bobcats, Larry Green squad. Lee, they host Jellicoe 3-7. Brent Peel, one of those first-year coaches that got his team into the postseason. What's your thoughts?
Oliver Springs.
Oliver Springs.
Yes, sir.
Well, you're making this pretty easy, Lee. We've got 2 down in less than 2 minutes. So I like the second-round matchup, Cloudland and Oliver Springs. I think that's the way this is going to play out.
Yes, sir.
Looking on down further, Coalfield, the 3 seed, travels to Hancock County. And unfortunately for Coalfield, I think that's going to wind up. They're going to run into Greenback. What they usually hit in the third round, don't they?
Right.
I think it's going to be the second round this year. It looks like because I do like Coalfield to win this game.
Yes, sir. Coalfield.
Coalfield, the Yellow Jackets, Keith Henry squad. Keith Henry, man, he's one of those really great coaches. I think he's got 52 career wins now,
That's
Lee.
right.
So he does a great job over there. But to coin one of your phrases, I think Greenback has been their kryptonite the last 5 years.
That's right. Speaking of Greenback, here we go. Greenback, Unica, or Unica.
I don't know how you're supposed to say that either.
Greenback, man.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they're going to show up. A couple of years ago they didn't even show up. You remember that?
Yeah. Greenback had a semifinalist for Mr. Football, I think.
Yeah, they sure did. Holden Willis.
Holden Willis.
The wide receiver. He
right.
got. They revealed that today. As some people upset Carnes didn't get selected. I don't know why. I mean, he had the numbers. Obviously,
Yeah.
he had over 3,000 yards, over 40 TDs. But I mentioned on Coach T, I think part of the problem may have been the fact that he came from a 6A school down to a 1A for one season. So and I'm not saying this is my case, but I think that there were certain media people that felt that he may have dropped down just for those accolades.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying that's true. I just think that may have factored in that, along with the fact you had 3 kids that could easily be Mr. Football off that team.
That's correct.
So they may have split the vote. You've heard of that in the Heisman running. If you have a couple of Heisman candidates in college, they wind up splitting the votes.
Mm-hmm.
So that may have been what happened. But
Greenback big.
yeah, Greenback big, and congrats, like you said, to Holden Willis. Glad to see he made that. I think he'll make the finals. I don't know if he'll win it or not, but I think he'll be in the finals.
Correct.
All right, Mr. Teat, let's move on down to Quad 2, and we'll throw that up on the screen for the folks to see.
Y'all hear me coughing a little bit? I'm sorry. I've been a little bit under the weather.
A little under the weather. All right, Lee, and a lot of people like the South Pittsburgh Pirates to win it all this year. I think they're on a collision course with this Greenback team we just talked about. Joe Burns, Tom Atkins squad really down this year. The only wins were to Red Bowling Springs and Pickett County, so I don't see any contest here.
South Pitt.
So South Pitt big in that one.
Yes, sir.
Second half of that bracket, Lee Teat, Clay County hosts Sells Creek. You got Jake Johnson, new head coach there at Clay County, took over from Matthew Bates last season. I think this was his first full season as the head coach. Team did well, 7-3. They lost to Westmoreland, Monterey, White County were the three losses.
Yeah, so 2 of the 3 were to larger classifications, and Monterey sitting at 10-0. Getting ready to talk about them in a second. So I'm gonna go Clay County Bulldogs.
Clay County Bulldogs over Sells Creek.
Yes,
that
sir.
may wind up being a pretty good game, and I agree with you. I like Clay County in that one. Copper Basin hosts Gordonsville. Probably the best game, I think, in this quad Lee Teat as far as, competitive spirit. I think this could be a close game. Chad Grabowski's son has done a phenomenal job there. They've got a wide receiver, I think, over 1,000 yards. Unfortunately, his name's slipping my mind now.
Right.
I like. You was going with Gordonsville, wasn't you?
I'm gonna go Gordonsville on the road.
I had Gordonsville on Coach Lee Teat in the pick'em contest, but I'm thinking seriously about hedging my bet here. I don't know. I guess I didn't realize who Gordonsville had beat, and that's that wasn't very impressive.
No.
I think they've got a win over Pickett County, Red Bowling Springs, and Joe Burns. The Joe Burns team is really down this year.
Yeah,
so
they've been beat up a little bit, but I think they're back healthy because they played Monterey pretty tight last week.
we saw Scott Clemens up at South Pitt. You remember
we did,
that?
yes, sir.
And I don't want to. What the heck? I'm gonna go ahead and split with you. I was a coin toss on this.
Well,
one
it's
anyway.
Copper Basin's at home too.
Yeah,
that
that's
always
true.
matters.
That's true.
I'm gonna go Gville.
Yeah, I can understand that. I see that. Monterey and Whitwell lead. Monterey's 10-0, undefeated. Scott Hughes squad, very impressive season. I think Whitwell has gotten better here at the end of the season. I think they lost the first 7 games or so on the schedule, but they did beat Grundy County, beat Lookout Valley, a couple of teams that aren't that good this year. So I think Monterey probably wins this one. What do you think?
Yes, sir. Monterey Wildcats.
Monterey Wildcats. All right, Lee, so to recap the top half of the bracket, we like Greenback in Quad 1.
I do.
No surprise to anybody. It follows high school football. And South Pittsburgh in Quad 2.
I think so, yes, sir.
That's going to be your semifinal matchup, and we predicted that back to preseason along with 95% of the other high school football fans. So I think 1A probably played out more as everyone expected.
Status quo.
Yeah, more so than any other division, I think, in the state or any other class in the state.
Right.
All right, Lee. Now let's get into some interesting matchups, and of course, with Fayetteville losing their, of course, they tried to petition to get back into or to get the wins back that were forfeited. Of course, they didn't win that appeal. We found out Tuesday, giving Bob Robertson the region title. So good job to our buddy Bob Robertson. Congrats on that. He'll host Brewston. Brewston's at 5-5. Huntland is at 6-4, maybe 7-3 with the Fayetteville win. But I think I put these records in, assuming Fayetteville was going to get. But I think it actually finished 7-3 if I believe that's correct, Lee. Host Brewston. What do you think?
I like Huntland at home.
I like the Hornets as well. Their losses were to Eagleville, Fayetteville, Moore County, and South Pitt. So, they had a pretty tough schedule there.
Tested. Yes, sir.
So I like the Huntland Hornets at home. McEwen hosts Mount Pleasant.
This was a little tougher game for me to pick.
This one a little tougher. I got to put that up there so they can see that. Yeah, I think, Lee, in this particular quad here, this may have been the toughest one to call. McEwen and McEwen's had a really good season, man.
Yeah, I know.
And it seems like our buddy Bronson Bradley, I think his team is getting healthy at the right time. A.J. Busby had a big game for him last week, 211 yards, 4 total touchdowns, 3 rushing, 1 passing, in that 47-28 win over Moore County. So his team is playing good at a good time of the season.
Right. I'm going to go Mount Pleasant on the road.
Mount Pleasant on the road. That's what I picked too. McEwen is 7-3, and Eric Pullen's team has looked really good. Lee, their only losses were to Houston County, Stewart County, and Huntington. So you're going Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Mount Pleasant on the road, especially with this weather. I don't think this weather's gonna be any better tomorrow night.
Yeah, I got a little tickle in my throat too, Lee. I'm right there with you. I'm gonna go Mount Pleasant also. I like the Tigers. Bronson Bradley squad again. They seem to have turned the corner the last couple of weeks. He's got his kids back healthy. you know, he had a lot of injuries there mid-season.
He did.
And of course, Keyshawn Hudson is back. He was injured. I think he missed a game or two.
That's right.
He was a Mr. Football candidate. They were kind of, putting his name out there. He wasn't selected, but I think the injury may have had something to do with that.
And Busby's playing good for him right now too. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I like Mount Pleasant also, but I wouldn't be surprised with that McEwen winning that one at home. Cornersville Lee Teat will host Collinwood. Scott Hanna's team, 5-5. They lost to McEwen, Huntington, Loretta, Summertown, and Richland. I think I like the Bulldogs of Cornersville in that one.
I do too. I think Coach Randolph, he's playoff ready. I like Cornersville.
Cornersville it is. Huntington hosts Richland, and Huntington's Eric Swenson. That's been our team, Lee Teat, so far this year. Over on the west side of the state, we felt that they were going to do well all year, and I think they'll win this quad. I like them to win this quad. I talked to Will Rabb last night on Prep Sports Insiders, and I like Huntington. I liked Huntington even if Fayetteville had been in.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. But I'm happy for Nick Patterson, our buddy Nick Patterson down at Richland, man.
That's right.
Congrats. I texted him Tuesday, Lee, and he was really excited. Folks over at Richland, man, they're fired up, getting the postseason game for the first time in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So a good deal for them. And he's got a young team, so that playoff experience is going to help. I mean, they're not going to go over and beat Huntington, but that experience will be that'll pay dividends next year.
That's right. Get them ready.
All right, Lee, moving on down to Quad 4. We got Lake County, the Falcons, Josh Puckett squad. Man, I don't know that anybody's playing any better than them in the whole state right now.
Yeah, they're playing lights out, and I don't see any let up. I like Lake County in this one.
They've beat some larger classification teams this year and beat them badly.
Right.
I think they beat Westview pretty good.
Have you got that?
They beat
quad
Union
up?
City. Yeah. Let me do that. I don't think I did, Lee. Did you mention that? I will put that up. So Lake County again hosting Booker T. Washington in that first game in that quad. We like Lake County to win that.
Yes,
we
sir.
actually like them to win this quad. MASE hosts Greenfield. The Yellow Jackets have played well. Don Pitt squad. Their last losses were to Lake County, West Carroll, and they lost to a team out of Kentucky. So I like them to beat MASE on the road.
I do too. I was looking at that today. I like Greenfield on the road because I think they're a little bit tougher schedule, probably.
Yep.
A bit more battle tested.
And moving on down, Lee, West Carroll hosts Memphis East. West Carroll lost to McKenzie, Gibson County, Houston County, and Lake County. Memphis East, their three losses were to MASE, Freedom Prep, and Middle College. So I think I like West Carroll in this one. I like the War Eagles.
Really?
Yep. I'm sensing you going the other way with that.
Interesting. Middle College is pretty good.
Yeah, no doubt. Won the region.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you. I think West Carroll.
You going West Carroll?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Last game in this quad, Middle College, the Bulldogs, like you said, they're a good team, 9-1. Their only loss was to Greenfield, who we picked to win in the first round. They host Dresden. Dresden team continues to be down, 4-6 this year. They beat Humboldt, they beat Gleason, South Fulton, and Scotts Hill was the only 4 wins they had. But West Johnson squad not playing up to what they're capable of playing, I don't think.
I don't think so, too. I like Middle College.
All right, to quickly recap, Lee, we like in this quad 4 to take it, we like Lake County.
Yes, sir.
In this quad 3, we like Huntington. And again, no surprises. These 4 teams, everybody had them, advancing preseason and true to form. They all played well.
I'm looking forward to whoever makes it to the finals of this game because I think it's going to be a quality squad on both sides of the field.
I do too. I think that 1A championship is going to be one for the records, man. It's
Yes,
going to
sir.
be a good one. I'm looking forward to that also. And the good thing about it, we know most of the head coaches in this class, so we should be familiar with whoever gets there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a real good. What teams get there are going to be quality, and that'll be a good ball game. And then they'll bring a lot of people with them too.
Yeah, no doubt. That's one thing I like about the smaller schools. All right, Lee, you ready to move on to Class 2A?
Let's roll with it.
Class 2A, we got Hampton hosting Cumberland Gap up in Quad 1. Hampton, the quad class region. I'll get it right here in a minute, Lee. Spit it out. Region 1 champs hosting Cumberland Gap. Who you liking that one?
Hampton.
Hampton all the way.
Yes, sir. Hampton at home.
I will agree with you. I'm going to go along with that. Cumberland Gap 4 and 6. Hampton's only losses were to Gatlinburg, Pittman, and Happy Valley.
Right.
Moving down to the next game, Lee, Oneida, the Indians, Tony Lammert's team, very good ball team this year. Losses were to Greenback, Upperman, Meigs County, and Coalfield. So really tough schedule there for them. I like them. And, of course, they host Sullivan North.
Yeah, I'll take Oneida.
Like Oneida.
Yep, sure do.
All right, Lee. South Green hosts Rockwood. They shut out Hampton 30-0. Did South Green. I'm sorry, they were shut out by Hampton 30-0. I'll get it right here. I mean, that was their only loss. And then Rockwood 5-5 lost to Oneida, Meigs, Kingston, Oliver Springs, and Sweetwater.
I'll go South Green. I'm gonna go South Green.
I tell you what, Lee, I don't know if either one of us is going to survive this show. I'm about to lose my voice, coughing. Might be an interesting show. I like South Green also. I think the Rebels that they've played well this year again, sitting at 9-1, and I think they take Rock. I think it's going to be a good game though. Rockwood typically is a really good program.
Well, they're tested, man. They lost some good squads.
Yeah. Meigs County hosts Happy Valley. Our buddy Jason Fitzgerald over there at Meigs. We saw them at South Pittsburgh. That was their only loss, but they played really well this year. And Happy Valley, a good ball team. Jason Jarrett's squad lost to Unicoi County, which is a larger school, Sullivan North, and they lost to South Green. So that might be a better round one tester than what they anticipated.
I think so too, but I like Meigs.
So I think we're headed for a Meigs. Do you like Oneida or Hampton to come out of that top?
I tell you what, Mike, I'm kind of leaning towards Oneida.
I like Tony Lambert's squad also. I mean, we potentially may have a Meigs Oneida rematch, but I mean Mike Lunsford, his Hampton team have looked good also.
That's correct.
That'd be a good second round matchup if that winds up happening.
That's right.
All right, Lee, moving down to Quad 2 and 2A, you got Tyner hosting Westmoreland, Wayne Turner squad. And you look at that, well, they're not getting any mentions at all, Lee.
Man, and look at who they've lost to.
Howard, Alcoa, and Baylor. And somebody mentioned Tyner, I think a Chapel Hill fan, he said, I said something about Tyner being a championship competitor, and he's like, it's Tyner. Well, brother, it's only been 2 years since Wayne Turner had that Tyner squad in the title game.
Yeah, and I mean, their losses are to the Alcoa's perennial state champs in 3A. Baylor is playing lights out in Division II big boy football, or big classification Division II 3A. And then the Howard, man, I mean, those losses are some tough teams. He's tested. I mean, he might don't sleep on him. We like Wayne Turner, too. He's a cool dude, man.
Yeah, he is. I love that beard, man.
Yeah.
The beard.
Yeah.
So I like Tyner in this one. I think Chad Perry's done a really good job with that Westmoreland program. They lost to Heritage, East Robertson. That was probably the shocker to me. They lost to Watertown, Trousdale, Livingston Academy. Other than that East Robertson game, they were we expected them to lose those 3 before the season started.
That's right.
So,
Tyner.
Yeah, I like Tyner also. Trousdale County, Marion County. Marion County is just
What in the world?
I don't know what's going on over there.
Trousdale, buddy, big.
Yeah, Marion County 2-8. The folks at Jasper can't be happy with that. I mean, they're used to good football up there in Marion County. They beat Tellico Plains. They beat Polk County, and then of course they had the forfeit win over Fayetteville. But I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I like Trousdale.
Blake
Hey,
Satterfield.
The winner of this Trousdale and Tyner, would Trousdale go to Tyner?
Trousdale will go to Tyner.
Okay.
Yep. Trousdale's got this is be the only home game they'll get unless Westmoreland upset Tyner,
Right.
then they would be home. I don't see that happening.
No.
And then, I say that now. Let me think a minute on that. If
Say they and Watertown meet.
Watertown would get it because they are the higher
seed
in that region,
Right.
but I think if Bledsoe County were, and I don't see this happening, but if Bledsoe County were to upset Watertown, I believe Bledsoe County would host. I think. No. I don't know. No, Trousdale, I get that wrong. They're in the top half of the bracket, and in odd number of years they would host in the quarterfinals. So Trousdale County will if they get there, they'll host anybody other than Watertown.
Correct.
That's the way it is. Okay. It's confusing, Lee.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. So Trousdale would host anybody other than Watertown. And I think Watertown's going to come out of that bottom half. Bledsoe County hosts East Robertson. This is a pick'em game right here for me. I think I picked East Robertson, but I meant to pick Bledsoe County. I didn't want to. I was too prideful to go back and change my pick. Somebody called me out on that, but I had intended to pick Bledsoe. Their only losses were to Tyner, Sequatchie, and Monterey, so they played a really tough schedule.
Look at East Robertson's losses.
Yeah, they lost. Yeah, you're exactly right. Watertown, Trousdale, Lewis County. Now that you mentioned that, Lee, they played a tough schedule as well.
They're tested.
Well, who you taking then?
I'm going East Robertson.
Are you?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
Well, I'll go Bledsoe. I went East Robertson on Coach T, but I'm going to go Bledsoe. Watertown and Tellico, I like Watertown all the way.
Yes, sir. Watertown big.
All right, now the big question, who you like advancing out of this quad? This is the toughest quad to pick.
As of right now, I'm going Watertown.
Right now, you're going Watertown.
See how they get through here. If they can get through these first couple ball games injury-free and then match up with Trousdale, that's going to be a good one.
Yeah. I'm going to go – I think I'm going to go Lee. I don't know, brother. That Tyner team scares the crap out of me.
Me too.
I really like him
Yeah.
a lot. But and Trousdale –
You looking at a potential Watertown Tyner? You thinking?
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I think Blake Satterfield's Trousdale squad –
You got to go
we'll
to
get by
Tyner.
time. I understand. They beat them like 35-0 last year.
That's true. That's true.
So I like Trousdale. I think I like Trousdale to come out of this quad, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if Watertown got them. You know, you got to remember they were up 13-0 on Watertown at halftime.
That's right.
And according to Coach Satterfield, they've got a lot of stuff straightened out since then. So we'll see. Should be a good matchup.
It will.
All right, Lee. Let's swap our screen here. Hello, we're still here. I think I'd rather see the picture of the teams anyway, Lee. We're ready for 2A Quad 3. We'll look at that right quick. This quad here is, I don't know, man. I haven't got a real good vibe on this one. You know, we were at Forest Lewis County game last week, Lee.
You're in 3A.
Yeah, I don't get off on the wrong class, ain't I? Well,
There we go.
I knew what I needed to talk about, though.
That's right.
Forrest and Lewis County, we were at that game. Eli Stevens' team looked good. Of course, McClendon is back. He had a big game for him last week. So I like them to beat Hickman County, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, Forest Rockets.
And then here's the game here that's a tough one to pick for me. Houston
Me
County
too, buddy.
hosting Eagleville. This may be the toughest game in 2A for me to pick.
This is one I text you about.
It is. And I didn't give you no answer, did I?
No, sir.
Now Houston County is 9-1. Lee, their only loss was to
Tough Waverly squad.
Randall Bolden's Waverly squad, and then Eagleville. I think Floyd Walker's Eagles got better all year. I think they lost a quarterback, but they moved a wide receiver over at quarterback, and he's played well for them. Their losses were to Forest, Lewis County, and Mount Pleasant when Mount Pleasant was healthy. So who do you like? Let me put you on the spot.
Man, I'm going to go Eagleville.
You're going to Eagleville. All right, I'm going to split it with you. I'm going to go Houston County. I'm going to go with Coach Meadow, and because they're home. That's the main reason why I'm going with them. If it was at Eagleville, I think it's going to be a 2-3 point game.
Yes.
And that's the only reason why I'm going with the Fighting Irish. They're at home. But it's going to be a good game. And it wouldn't surprise me if Floyd Walker pulled this one out. Lewis County hosts Riverside Lee, Panthers against the Panthers. I think the Panthers will win.
I'm taking the
use
Panthers.
your line.
I'm going to go Lewis County.
You going Lewis County? I like Bobby
to win.
Sharp. I think Johnny Frost had a good year, 5-5. They had a tough schedule. Lost to Lexington, Adamsville, Lewis County, and Houston County, along with Waverly. They were 5-5, but I like Lewis County. I agree with you. Waverly, Randall Bolden's team, won the region in his first year there with a 6-4 record. They lost to Camden, Huntington, McEwen, and Westview. Pretty tough schedule.
Yes, sir.
And then you look at Leslie Moat's Summertown Eagles lead. They lost to Mount Pleasant, Forest, Eagleville, and Lawrence County. They did beat Lewis County.
Yeah, it surprised me. I don't know what happened in that ball game, but I'm going to go Waverly at home.
Well, it's like I told Will Rabb last night, Lee, this is the other game, and it was a real head-scratcher for me because Summertown, I think they may have overachieved a little bit. I didn't expect them to be as good as what they have been, and I think the Tigers of Waverly, I believe they're going to get this one. Is that who you got?
Yes, sir, I think so.
Sorry, Lee, get a drink. My throat is killing me. We may have to take a break, get some cough drops here in a minute. 2A Lee Quad 4. You got Peabody, and do we need to talk about the rest of the quad?
Well, I mean, we can, but I like Peabody, and especially in this game.
Yeah, Shane Jacobs, man, his team is lights out. They got so many kids back from that team that won the title last year. We had them as heavy favorites to win 2A state again this year, and I haven't really seen anything to make me change my mind on that.
Right.
They got MAHS at 6-4. I think they walk in that game. And then looking down, Mitchell, McKenzie, that may be a pretty good game. McKenzie's record is deceptive. They're 5-5. They lost to O'Brien County. They lost to Union City, Stewart County, Peabody, and Huntington. Really good Huntington squad. Their running back ran for 199 yards. Micah Austin, 199 yards, scored twice in a big win over Adamsville last week.
Right.
28-7.
I'm going to go Mitchell.
All right, I'm going to split with you on this, and I'm going to go with the Rebels of McKenzie. And I don't know why, because, I mean, if you look at Mitchell's only losses were to Ridgeway and Fairleigh, so most of your educated high school sports fans, I think, would go with you and pick Mitchell. I don't know. Something about McKenzie. I just got a hunch. Got a hunch on that one. Maybe wrong. Maybe indigestion. I don't know. Who knows? Oh, I know. That's terrible. So, Lee, I didn't get that last game, did I? Union City and Douglas. Our buddy Darren Bowling's team snuck in there and got second place in that region despite a 6-4 record. They lost to Halls. They lost to
they lost to Peabody, Gibson County, and Lake County.
You're right. I'm sorry. They won the last three games over Halls, McKenzie, and Dyersburg. Can't even read my own notes. And you're right. They lost to Gibson County, which missed the playoffs at 6-4.
That's correct.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
But and that Lake County squad, man, that's a good ball team. I like Union City in this one.
I do too. At home.
You like them at home?
Yes, sir.
Golden Tornadoes. Fairleigh is another really good team. Gene Robertson's squad, 8-2. Their only losses were to MUS and Hernando, Mississippi.
Fairleigh.
So you like them over Adamsville.
Yes, sir.
Brandon Gray's team won 4 of the last 5. They did lose to McKenzie last week, but they're playing good. And we thought they would be a sleeper preseason, remember?
I did, but like I said, that Fairleigh's only lost to MUS, man. That's a different beast.
But they don't think they play in that tough a region, Lee. I think this game right here is going to be close.
Really?
I do.
I like Fairleigh.
You like Fairleigh? I'm going to pick them also, but I'm going to tell you, Brandon Gray's Cardinals are like I say, won 4 out of the last 5.
Can coach now.
Yeah, he's a good coach. They won 4 out of the last 5. The game they lost to Union City was, I think, they were up like 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. Remember that? We talked to Darren Bowling. So that record is deceptive, Lee Teat, but I'm going to go with you.
You like out of this quad?
I'm going to take Fairleigh out of this quad. I'm going to take Peabody out of this quad all day long.
And Forrest out of this one?
I think so. But watch Waverly and watch Lewis County.
Right.
I think the winner of Waverly and Lewis County.
Well, we know Lewis County can play with them.
Yeah, we do. And they had the lead at halftime, I believe, Lee, if I remember right. So, yeah, I think that we, in all likelihood, we probably got a rematch, I think, of the Lewis County Forest game. But I got to go with Forest, man. Eli Stevens' team's played really well this year. All right, so that's 2A, Lee. If you don't mind, Mr. Teat, let's take a really, really quick break, and I'm going to get a cough drop because I'm about to die.
That sounds good.
Friday main event, Lee Teat, Mike Molder will be back right after this. Hey, folks, I want to tell you about a new sponsor who joined us this season, Elaborate Images. Marcia and her husband, Sheldon, they've been in business since 2007. They've got thousands of customers across Middle Tennessee now. They are located right here in Unionville, close to where I live, actually. But Marcia does a phenomenal job. Everything we've got from them, hats, T-shirts, sweatshirts. They even designed the banner we use now. I mean, they do excellent work. It's top quality work. All the merchandise that they use is top notch. You're not going to get the cheap stuff you get at a lot of the online websites I used to use. So I'd strongly suggest you check out Elaborate Images, and again, go to elaborateimages.com. Ask for Marcia. They've got a phone number contact there. Matter of fact, I'll give you that number now. 931-703-5410 is how you can get in touch with her if you don't want to go online. Again, 931-703-5410. That's Elaborate Images. They've got all the Friday main event apparel already set up, and you can tell her what you want from us. Or if you just want to go out on your own and get something designed for your business, I mean, they're great. We've been using them for a couple of years now. She decided to be a sponsor of the Friday main event this year, and we're very grateful to have them on board. So check them out, Elaborate Images. All right, Lee, we are back. Cough drop in mouth. Good to go. Sorry, folks, man. It's like Lee said when we was in break. It's that time of year, man. So we're gonna drive on through it, fight through it. Lee, we got 1A, 2A in the books. We're ready to go to 3A. Are you ready?
Let's rock and roll.
3A, and no surprises here.
No.
This quad right here, I would be absolutely stunned if Alcoa doesn't walk through this quad as they do every year. But starting up the top, Chucky Doak, the Region 1 winner, 6-4. Ben Murphy's Black Knights lost to Knox Catholic. Happy Valley, South Green, and Granger Lee Teat. They host Kingston. Kingston lost to Oliver Springs, Austin East, Alcoa, and GP. What do you think?
Man, that's a tough pick. Got a 4 seed against the 1 right here.
And I think it's going to be close.
I do too. I really do.
I considered going sweep right here.
Region 2 sweep.
Region 2 sweep.
I could
This
see
is
it.
the only game I'm concerned about.
I could see it. I'll just go for it, Kingston.
Well, isn't that what Matthew Bates told you to do?
Yep.
So Coach Bates, he's picking the one seed upset right here.
Region 2 sweep.
I'm strongly thinking about going that way too, Lee. This was a tough game for me to pick right here. I'll tell you what, I'll just go ahead and go Chucky Doak, just to be different. But I agree with you. Good possibility of Reed Sweep. Austin East hosts Johnson County. The Roadrunner Jeff Phillips squad only loss is Knox Webb, Greenville, and Alcoa. I like the Roadrunners.
Yes, sir, Austin East.
Austin East, Unicoi County, and appreciate those guys sending me their stats every week. And Lee, I'm gonna take the time and look him up because I forget the AD's name every week, and I always say I'm going to mention him, and I keep forgetting it. So I'm going to take the time. So carry on, man. Just conversate there while I look this up.
Well,
Talk about the
I'm
game.
glad you're going to look him up, but he going to have many more stats to give you after this week, Mike. I think GP walks in this one. I like Coach Ring. They lost to Austin East and Alcoa. I was a bit surprised, though, by the loss to Austin East. I thought they'd play them a little bit tougher.
Jason Hensley, the AD at Unicoi County, he sends me stats every week. He's the only one that does that. And I appreciate that.
That's right.
And they've had a good year, and he's got some good players.
Yep.
But I agree with you. I think Derek Rain's squad a little too tough. I like them to move on and into that butt whipping they're going to get in round two, unfortunately. Gary Rankin's Alcoa squad, I think they got, I want to say 8 shutouts in 10 games. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think the only team to score on them was Blackman and Maryville.
Maryville, I think
both
so.
6A squads.
Yeah. So, and their only loss was to Maryville. They're going to hammer West Green, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time on that one. Lee, if you look on down, quad 2, and we're going to go to 3A quad 2. Hi, Mike, Lee. I know you guys aren't saying this. That's probably a good thing. Not saying that a lot of us, but we wanted to put the brackets up there so you could see it as we discuss it. I'm sorry that the text isn't quite as legible as I was hoping it would be. I'll redo that next week. We'll have it better next week. Easier to see next week. But anyway, that's what we got for this week, so we'll just have to go with it, Lee. In Class 3A, and remember, we've got coaches that are telling us to pick upsets, so keep that in mind. Loudon hosts York. You want to go with the Dragons in this one?
No.
Come on, Lee. You're not playing along, man.
Loudon big.
Now, they lost 6 out of 7 to finish the season. That did York.
They beat Cannon County by 1 to get in, man. I was kind of hoping Cannon County would get in.
I was too. Yeah. Got a good fan base over there, don't
they? They do.
Yeah.
But I'm going Redskins, man.
Loud and big.
Yes,
Jeff
sir.
Harry's squad's playing really well right now. Smith County, we talk about your buddy John Ross Horde, 211 yards. He scored 6 touchdowns, Lee Teat. And you said that was one half play, correct?
Yes, sir, and one half.
That's crazy. Of course, they were up against Grundy County, not the best team in the world, but still, that's a huge accomplishment.
Hard to do that with against air.
Yeah, exactly right. Scott Murray has done a really good job in his first year there at Smith County. They're 6-4. Lost to Upperman Livingston Academy, DeKalb County. Stone Memorial probably a little bit of a shocker out of the schedule for them. Host Sweetwater, Lee, Mike Martin in his first year. You got 2 first-year coaches here.
Man, that's a tough bye, too. A tough matchup for Smith County, first round.
And their only losses, Lee, look at the lost to
right.
Meigs County, Red Bank, and Loudon. That's the only losses Sweetwater's got.
That's correct.
And this is 2 coaches out of 6 first-year coaches that advanced to the playoffs here in Class 3A.
Man, I'm going to go Smith County at home. But this ball game is tight.
Scares you, huh?
It does.
I think your boy Horde had to have a well of a
They're going to have to play. Everybody's going to have to play lights out. But I'll go Smith County at home, but it wouldn't surprise me if Sweetwater wins this game.
I'm going to go with you, Lee. I'm going to go Smith County also, but I agree with you on that topic as well that it could be an upset. Sweetwater could pull this one out. Red Bank hosts Sequatchie County. I like the Lions big in this one.
Red Bank.
Their only loss was to Loudon 24-7, so I like Red Bank big. Upperman, the Bees, Adam Kane done a great job in his second year there. At Upperman, their only loss was to Livingston Academy, 10-7 back in week 4. So Upperman included they had a big win over Cookville to start the season.
That's right.
I like them to win here against Signal Mountain.
I do too.
So in this quad, I believe you just about have to go Loudon, don't you? Based on the fact that they they beat Red Bank by 17. Do you think Red Bank comes back on them?
Man, I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I'm looking forward to watching Red Bank Upperman.
Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that could. You're exactly right. That's not a given there, is
It's a second round game.
it? Yeah, and Red Bank would actually Upperman would host that game as a 1 seed.
That's right. I kind of like Upperman out of this quad.
You might be right, Lee. I didn't realize. We'll talk about that next week. I ain't got to pin you down on that yet. All right, Lee. Let's move on over to quad 3. We're still here. Just letting you know, we're still here. We're still here. Don't leave. Don't you go anywhere. Hit that thumbs up down there while you're at it.
That's right.
3A Lee Teat. This quad right here, in my opinion, perhaps the best in 3A. And of course, I'm talking about Region 5, top to bottom.
Unbelievable.
And I was told don't pick a sweep. What did our buddy Chris Hughes said? Don't pick against us. Coach Hughes, what you don't understand is if Lee and I pick against you, that's probably a good thing.
Especially me.
Oh man, that's the toughest one in this quad, no doubt. Pearl Combe walks over Stewart County, I do believe.
Yes, sir.
Coach Burnetti's squad 10-0. Man, they beat King Ridge, NBA Indy. Beat a good East Nashville team, a good Stratford team. So I think they definitely walk in this game. Look forward to that rematch with, I think, East Nashville knocks off my buddy Justin Robinson.
I think so too, man.
His Sycamore squad, the War Eagles, did secure that second place in Region 6, but East Nashville's tough, Lee.
Yeah, East Nashville big.
East Nashville big, and then you look at the 5-2 Stratford hosting Camden. Thomas Porter has done a really good job there in 2 years at Stratford. Look at who they lost to. Lost to Pearl Cone, FRA. Columbia might have been a little bit of a surprise, I thought. But Jason Holt's squad is sneaky good this year.
That's right.
So that wasn't what I would call a big upset. It is a 5A versus a 3A.
True.
So I don't know that you'd have to classify that as an upset. I think we picked Stratford, but who knows. But I like them in this game. I think they beat Camden.
I think so.
And then the game we were just talking about, Fairview hosting Giles County. This is a tough game to pick, Coach Hughes.
It is, buddy. That's a terrible draw first round as a 1 seed. That is a horrible draw.
Well,
man.
we had him on a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about he was, 1-89 against Coach O'Connor, but he won the last one. You remember him saying that?
That's right.
Tough.
I'm gonna go Fairview at home. But man, look who Giles lost to. Pearl, Tullahoma, Page, Stratford, East Nashville, and Hendersonville.
Well,
that's a brutal schedule.
After they beat Marshall County, Lee, I thought, well, hey, man, they're going to make some noise here in the postseason. And then they went to Tullahoma and got beat. And I'm no knocking against Tullahoma. Tullahoma's a very good football team. But that kind of put Giles County back in check for me, personally.
Yeah, I'm going to go Fairview.
I think I'm going to go Fairview at home also. But no offense, Coach Hughes, if you lose that game, don't blame us. Because I told you, you're better off with us picking against you. Lee, quad 4.
Here we go.
This is a tough one, man. This quad 4, brother. I mean, this team. This is a loaded up quad. I'll go ahead and put that up. We'll talk about it. This quad 4 is crazy, man. South Gibson team is loaded, brother. Loaded. Hosts Sheffield. I like them a lot in this one. Sheffield only won 1 game. Melrose and Covington, I like Covington. This is another one I was considering a region sweep right here, 7 over 8. They did sweep them last year, Lee.
Right.
Covington over Melrose. I like the Chargers.
Correct.
J.R. Kirby squad. And then you're looking down at Milan hosting Raleigh, Egypt. Milan's playing really good. Devontae Herron, the quarterback, huge game last week, 369 yards rushing, scored 5 touchdowns, Lee, in a 60-28 win over Westview. That kid is stepping up at the right time of the year.
Yes, sir. Coach Pettigrew got them going in strong. I like Milan.
They lost to Hardin County, McNary Central, Huntington, South Gibson, and Peabody. So tough schedule. And then I'm going to go ahead and do it, Lee. I'm gonna go with the Region 7 sweep. I'm going to pick Matt McConnell's team to knock off Wooddale there in that 4-1 game.
I'm going to go Wooddale. I'm going to split with you.
You're going to split with me.
Yep.
All right. Because you do realize that they lost to Milan, they lost to Lake County, Covington, South Gibson, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty tough schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Westview's combined, the teams they beat are 19 and 48 combined.
That's Wooddale, actually. I put that on the wrong one. Wooddales are combined 1948. All right, brother. That's 3A.
I'm going to go Wooddale.
You're going Wooddale. I'm going South Gibson.
So you're
take
going
that
Region
quad.
7 sweep.
Yep. Region 7 sweep. I'm going South Gibson. I'm taking Pearl Cone to win the top half of that.
Yes, sir.
All right, Lee. We are right on the money. We're going to sweep through Class 4A quickly here, 'cause of course we got Coach Clark Duncan coming up, top of the hour. Anxious to talk football with him. He's a former UT player. Did you know that?
Yes, sir.
That might be the first one we've had. Have we had anybody that's run through the T before on here? I don't recall.
Yeah, Gary Rankin.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't know he played at UT.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
His
that.
former's roommate.
Oh, okay. Did not know that. Well, Lee, you just a wealth of damn knowledge, ain't you, buddy? Oh, all right. 4A Quad 1. Lee Teat. And a little bit of a surprise. We'll have Sean Whitten on with us here in about 45 minutes, or about a half hour, actually.
Yep.
His team knocked off Greenville this year. 10-0, sitting there, and they host East Ridge. I think they walked in that game, don't you? Cyclones, East Hamilton, Sullivan South. This is an interesting game right here. My buddy Grant Reynolds, they beat Anderson County, Red Bank, and Saudi Daisy. Sullivan South lost to Tennessee, Elizabeth, and Greenville, Cherokee, and Daniel Boone. So Sullivan South, very tough schedule, good ball team. They're in that tough region with Elizabeth and Greenville, so they're seasoned.
Yep. I'm going East Hamilton.
I'm going East Hamilton. East Hamilton bit you, didn't they?
Yeah.
You picked against them, what, last week, week 4?
Yep.
Don't pick against Grant Reynolds. Greenville and Howard, Lee Teat, Dan Hammond's squad. Only losses were to Elizabeth, and they started their season with a loss to Powell.
Mm-hmm.
Green Devils good again this year. The Hustling Tigers of Howard. I think their season ends tomorrow night.
Yeah, at Greenville.
Yep.
Yeah, I like Greenville.
And then Anderson County and Granger. I think Anderson County walks in that game, and that sets up a huge round 2 game between Greenville and Anderson County. So Greenville gets Elizabethton's normal path.
That's correct.
I got to get through Anderson County, and then hopefully get back to that Elizabethton team.
Yep, I like Anderson County.
Me too. Who you like in this quad?
Right now, Elizabethton.
Elizabethton?
Yep, I think their quarterback's playing really well.
I don't know. I can't decide on that. I'm going to pick that quad next week.
I said right now.
No, I'm going to pick that quad next week. I think my wife just come in, Lee.
Yep.
Livingston Academy and Maplewood, looking at quad 2. This is the last 2 years, Lee Teat. Quad 4 is swept quad 3.
I think it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen this year.
I don't think it will either.
Livingston will beat Maplewood,
I do
but
too.
I think the rest of it probably happens the same.
I agree. We love our Sente Broom, but he's got a young squad. They lost Tullahoma, Marshall County, Knowlesville, Hillsboro, East Nashville. Had a murderous schedule.
They sure did.
Really tough schedule, but I think Bruce Lamb's squad is playing really well. Will McDonald, their quarterback, he passed for 340 yards, 6 TDs last week against Macon County. So he's peaking. He's another kid peaking at the right time.
That's correct.
I like them. I like Nolensville to knock off Macon County. Paul Derrick's squad playing really good. And then moving on down, Tullahoma to Cobb County. This is a 2-seed, 3-seed game. I've heard a few folks that like Steve Trout's squad in this one. I totally disagree. I think John Olive's team has got an outside shot at winning this quad.
Yeah, I like Tullahoma on the road right here.
They shut out a pretty good Maplewood team last year to claim that 3rd seed. And if you'll remember, Lee, they played Nolensville very close. And John Olive told us, they've matured a lot since that Marshall County loss. So if we get that round 2 game we expect to have, of course, that means Marshall County beats Stone Memorial, and I think that's going to happen. Thomas Osteen's squad, very good. Cale Greer, your guy, you're always talking about he's peaking at the right time with 181 yards, 3 TDs last week against Nolensville to claim that region title. And, of course, I like the sophomore Hammonds at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tullahoma's got a chance to get Marshall County in that 2nd round. I think that's going to be a good game.
Could be.
Could be. So you got to remember, Giles County beat Marshall County, and then Tullahoma turned around and beat Giles County. So that tells me Tullahoma is playing a lot better here late in the year.
That's right.
So, yeah, it's a tough one to pick. I'm going to stay away from that one, too. I'm wimping out on you. I don't have to commit to the whole quad this week, Lee. We got a show next week. I want to see how these first-round matchups go. Springfield and Jackson Southside, Lee Teat. I think Springfield walks in this one. Dustin Wilson's squad playing a lot better here toward the end of the year. What's your thoughts on this one?
I think Springfield wins, but I don't know if they walk.
You think Southside's going to hang with them?
It'll be a little bit closer game than most people realize. I think Springfield has a hard time scoring. I don't think they're as potent on offense as they have been.
I don't know about that, Lee.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a pretty good game, pretty good win for them. You think
they'll win.
I'm crazy?
No, I think they're going to win. I just don't think it's going to be that big of a margin.
I think they're going to win by a pretty good margin. You ain't buying that? I'm not going to go big.
Yeah.
We know how that goes when you say big.
I mean, look at Southside lost to Haywood, Lexington, Peabody.
They played a tough schedule. Yeah. I agree with you, but
I think it'll be 10-point ball game.
I keep thinking back to last year when they come into that Northside game undefeated, and Northside just whooped them up and down the field.
I like Springfield at home, but I don't think it's going to be a big, huge blowout.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 14, 17 points. Lexington, White House Heritage Lee, bottom half of the top of that bracket. This could be a really good matchup right here.
Man, what about Coach Dickerson over there, Stetson Dickerson, Greenbrier, former OC at Greenbrier? I did not see them going 7-3, buddy.
Well, look, man,
they could very well be 9-1.
They got a good team. They got a good quarterback. Got a good young quarterback. They beat Montgomery Central, to get in. Montgomery Central went from the number 1 seed in the region 2 weeks ago to 7-3 and out of the postseason in 2 weeks.
Crazy.
That's got to be one of the biggest collapses I've ever seen. They lost to White House and Heritage both. That was the only thing that could have happened to keep them out of the playoffs, and that's what happened.
Yep. I like the Patriots in this one.
I do too. I think they're playing really good right now. Now Lexington lost to South Gibson, Milan, Crockett, Hardin County, McNary Central. They played a very difficult schedule. I'll say I talk myself out of that, Lee. I know that the Patriots beat a really good Central team, and I'm thinking they're playing good. I'm gonna go Lexington. I'm gonna flip on you. I think Heritage might run out of gas this week.
I think it's gonna be close.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the Tigers. Hollingsworth squad, good ball team. Creekwood, Jackson, Northside. This may be a really good matchup here as well.
Yeah, this one's one game in trouble.
Yeah, who you like? Coach Steele's.
I'm gonna go Creekwood at home, man, but it would not surprise me if Jackson Northside wins this game because our losses are to Beach, Haywood, and Hardin County and Lexington.
Yeah.
Well, Beach is 5A, Haywood's about as good as you're gonna see.
Yeah.
And then Lexington was 5 or 6A squad.
Mm-hmm. No, Lexington's in this 4A.
4A squad.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna go Creekwood at home.
I'm going to go Creekwood at home also. They lost to Montgomery Central in 2 overtimes, and they lost to Springfield by 7 points. So they've had a good year. I like them. I'm going to go with them also, Lee. Hardin County 9-1. Their only loss was to McNary Central. Host Portland, the Panthers. I think their quarterback got injured. Very versatile quarterback. I don't know if he's back yet or not, Lee. They lost to Forest, Heritage, Trousdale, Springfield, Creekwood. I think Hardin County wins that game.
I'm going Hardin County.
All right, brother. Moving on down, Quad 4, and this Haywood team, Mr. Teat, they're for real. Yep. Coming off of, they were a runner-up finish in the state last year.
I was a little concerned when we heard Coach Hook Ben was leaving, and then they go down and pick up Chris Smith from Germantown.
What a great hire that was.
So I'm on Haywood versus Craigmont. I think Haywood big, buddy.
Big, yeah. It's a 2-8 Craigmont team. MLK and Kingsbury are the only 2 wins. So yeah, that game gets ugly quick. Quick clock in the second half. Fayette Ware and Ripley. Fayette Ware is 8-2. Ripley 5-5. Lee, they lost to Lake County, Haywood, Covington, Dyer County, Crockett County. Pretty tough schedule. Who do you like?
I'm gonna go Fayette Ware at home.
I didn't really know which way to go on this one. I may go with Ripley, just because I don't know. They lost to Bolivar Central and Millington. We're talking about Fayette Ware. But I may go Ripley just for the heck of it, because I don't have a good pick, so I'm just going to split it with you. That's about as good a reason as any, isn't it?
Yep.
Crockett County hosts Bolton. Well, Matthew Bates said pick some upset, so.
Yeah, that's right. Blame it on him, right?
Blame it on him, yeah. That's Coach Bates' fault if I missed that. Crockett County hosts Bolton. Crockett County 6-4, Bolton at 1-9. Their only win was a 6-0 win over Craigmont. I'm going with the Cavaliers of Crockett County.
Crockett County.
And Dyer County, and Dyersburg at Millington. Who you like in this one?
Millington.
Dyersburg lost the last 7 games after starting the season 3-0. They beat MLK, Brighton, and O'Brien County. Man, they've just fallen off the map. And Bart Stowe's usually got a really good team, so I don't know what's going on with Dyersburg. But I'm with you. I'm going to pick Millington just because I don't know what's going on with Dyersburg. Yep. All right, Lee. Well, this is 4A. We're going to have to close this out. We got to get a coach on the line. This is the Friday main event. And I am Mike Molder, and he is Lee Teat. And you're listening to playoff first-round coverage of the TSSAA Division I teams. We've covered the first 4 classes. 2 coaches' interviews. We'll come back with the last 2 classes after the interviews. We'll see you guys in a minute after this commercial. Hey, folks, I want to talk to you a minute about our title sponsor, CoachT.com. We appreciate Jim Thompson and all the guys over at Coach T joining up with us. We'll be partnered with them for the 2nd consecutive year. So Friday main event, we're honored to be associated with such a great website. If you're into high school sports, whether you play, you have a child that plays, or just an ordinary fan, CoachT.com is a place you need to check out. And it's not just football. I mean, football is probably the biggest reason people visit CoachT.com. But if you have a kid into any other sport, softball, baseball, basketball, golf, soccer, if it's a high school sport, most likely you're going to find some information on CoachT.com. But what I want to talk to you about in particular is the Coach T Plus membership, which I happen to be a part of. For the 2nd year in a row, the Coach T Plus membership will be donation-based. So you decide what Coach T is worth to you. That's what's so great about the website. You can make as much commitment to the website as you feel comfortable with. Now, myself, I'm on the website, multiple times a day, as a matter of fact. So, I feel like, I owe it to the website and I owe it to Coach T to make a nice donation, and hopefully you guys will feel that commitment as well. We do want to keep the website running. Many of us get a lot of enjoyment out of the website, but the Plus membership, you get access to certain boards that you don't have as just a regular member of Coach T. So that's one reason to join the Plus membership. Another reason is you're kind of the captain of your team. You're in charge of the scheduling, or I should say the correction. If there's any corrections need to be made to schedules, any corrections need to be made to the scores that are reported, you have the ability to do that. And that's what the Coach T Plus membership, it kind of provides you a certain degree of ownership into the website. So please check it out, man. It's on the front page. You go to the home page, again, CoachT.com. There's a tab right there where you can click and become a Coach T Plus member. And just because you are now, don't assume you are forever. That is a 1-year membership, so you need to double check, make sure your membership has not expired. Again, from the Friday Man event, we appreciate CoachT.com and hope you guys appreciate them as well. All right, we are back here Friday main event. Mike Molder and Lee Teat, and we are talking playoff football, first round coverage. Again, we just got through talking about classes 1 through 4. We're fixing to get into class 5A, Lee. So seems like a good opportunity to me to get one of our favorites to do well in the class 5A. And of course, we're talking about South Dole head coach Clark Duncan on with us. Coach, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm great. Appreciate you guys having me here.
We couldn't be happier to have you, Coach. You know, if you, I was just talking to Lee during the break, man. You may be the only guy that Lee corrected me. We had Coach Rankin on, but I was thinking you might be the only guy we've ever had to run through the tee up there daily, and that's got to be a pretty cool experience, hasn't it?
Well, it is. I was fortunate to play back in the late '70s. In fact, I was Coach Major's first freshman class. So,
Okay.
yeah, to run through the tee is special, and still maintain that relationship with them. It's a really cool thing.
Well, Coach, you just mentioned Coach Majors and playing for him. Have you kept in touch with Coach Majors? Like,
Yeah, yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
no, you're right.
Coach Majors, I tell you, he's an amazing guy. He still stays in touch with his players, and I play in a golf tournament with him every year, and go to a couple of events. And the guy is amazing. His mind, the things he can tell you about yourself in a crowd, it's just mind blowing. But yeah, he's getting up in age, but he's doing well though.
Well, Coach, back in 2003, you made the decision to exit coaching. I think you'd been there at Powell for 17 years. You took over a AD job, I think, at there at South Dole, and then 6 years later, you decided to get back into coaching. What was the biggest thing you missed about walking the sideline while you were doing the AD jobs?
Relationships with the players. I I thought that I was through coaching in 2002 when I left Powell High School to go to South Dole as an administrator, and the first couple years I was enjoying it. I didn't miss practice. I didn't miss that part of it. I mean, just the grind. But over after a couple, 2, 3 years, what I realized, I still had relationship with coaches, but it was that piece was missing with the players, and there's nothing like it unless you've done it. You don't understand it, and it's like having kids, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
it's special. It's special, and so I knew that was missing in my life, and I still had the itch to want to get back on the field, and just because it's been such a big part of my life, and that's all I had ever done, and so did get back in it, and it's been special ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Coach, we felt this Cherokee team had a chance to be really special, and I think we were probably the only media I know in Middle Tennessee that had you
Mhm.
guys in our preseason top 10.
Yeah.
Has this team played up to the potential you expected of them heading
Well,
into the season?
coming into preseason, apparently there was people that just didn't do their homework.
I agree.
But we came in. I mean, potentially, I thought we were as good as anybody in the state of Tennessee, and
Mm-hmm.
we scrimmaged some people that are ranked ahead of us, and beat them well in scrimmages, and in a big scrimmage, and but that's irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a mishap in week 3, and we lost a 3-year starting quarterback, Mason Brang, that is just phenomenal in what he was due for us, and so we had to change a few things, but and it's taken a little bit of time, but we feel like we're playing as good as we've ever played. Now we have Mason back, and we could possibly see there's a possibility we could get him back a couple of rounds from now if we can survive it. But and if we do, it's it's a I'm we would be very thankful because we're very explosive with him. But without him, we've done exceptionally well. We played great defense. I mean, people, we just fly to the ball, and we're very physical. And offensively, we've got weapons, and we've got Elijah Young, and Elijah is one of the best football players I've ever been around. He's physical, he's fast, faster than anybody I've ever coached. He sees the field, and he'll run over you as well as he'll run around you. So I mean, he's just an exceptional young man that's really made us special on offense.
Well, Coach, I know you had never beat that Powell team when you was an AD there. I think you did. You finally defeated them there in 2016. The game between you guys last week, that was a great contest. They obviously figured out a way to slow down Elijah Young. Do you expect the Panthers to be the team that'll be waiting for you if you guys, are able to get to that point in the season?
Well, I think district or region 3 and 4. I really think the top teams coming out of there is going to be Powell, West,
Mm-hmm.
possibly Oak Ridge.
Right.
I think those are the three teams that are going to play in the quarterfinals. And so that we think that if we can survive it, we will see. There's a great chance we can see Powell again.
We're speaking with South Dole head coach Clark Duncan here on the Friday Main Event.
Well, Coach, you guys got a pretty solid Cherokee team coming on into town tomorrow night. How'd the Chiefs look on film?
Well, we played them last year. We opened up with them last year. Hadn't seen them since until we turned on the film. They look better than they were last year. They got a really good quarterback. Daddy played at Tennessee Tech, and there's just some good blood in that family that's been in up in Rogersville for the last several years. So he's athletic. He do a lot with his feet, and throw it, and he's a really good defensive player too at safety. They're big, physical. They've got some skilled kids on the edge. So we're going to have to play well, but we are excited about playing them.
Well, Coach, you you talked about this a little bit earlier. Quarterback Mason Brain, he was injured earlier. Sophomore quarterback Nick Martin, his numbers are down. We're down in the Powell game last week. I think, if I read somewhere, you guys have been running some Wildcat with Elijah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something we'll probably see a lot more of?
Well, we've always had it in our package, but really and truly, what happened? We had some Wildcat stuff. We had that when we had Mason, but
Uh-huh.
this is really what it is Elijah is at quarterback, and we run our offense. We've got Nate Adebayo and Noah Myers that are really, really good tailbacks. Probably start most anybody in Knoxville. They weren't at our place. So Elijah, he can do a lot of things now. So he just when we do this, I mean, we're running our offense, and so it puts the ball in his hands every play.
Right.
And a lot of run option, read option stuff, and so we're going to continue to use that. I mean, there's no question we're going to get the ball in his hands.
Right.
Coach, you got a couple of juniors leading your team in tackles in Terrell Brown and Noah Myers.
Right.
Been very active on that side of the ball, along with, I think he's a sophomore, Curtis Young.
Mm-hmm.
You got to love the fact that you got all those kids returning next year.
Yeah. Well, yeah, y'all really done your homework. I tell you, we do. It's exciting. I tell you, Noah Myers is a big time. He's 6'2", 220. Probably will go about 230, 235 next year if he really works at it, which he will, I know. Terrell Brown he doesn't come off the field, plays tight end, defensive end for us, and he's just an animal. And both those two guys are our defensive leaders, and they are back next year, which is great. And then, of course, Curtis is just a sophomore. Curtis Young is Elijah's younger brother.
I figured that.
Very talented. Plays inside linebacker for us. He plays tailback for us. He's going to be special in the next 2 years. Once Elijah's gone, we're going to see a lot of him carrying the football too.
Well, Coach Duncan, most coaches feel, games are pretty much won and lost down in the trenches, and I think you got your entire line returned from last year. Jordan Wilson, David Potter. Talk about some of those linemen for a minute.
Jordan Wilson is I've always said this. I think he's our best football player. And he's 5'11", 285. But I'm telling you, this guy is an animal. I mean, he's a great run stopper on defense with great feet. And he plays every position on the offensive line. Recruiters come in, they want to talk about Elijah, and I want to talk about Jordan. I mean, I think he is the guy. But Michael Potter, 3-year starter for us, just doing phenomenal things. We had David Hull was a left tackle for us. We lost him a few weeks ago to a rotator cuff injury, which he will not play the rest of the year. He's already had surgery, but that's really the only injury that we've had. We have Lennox Granoff has come on, and he's a big kid that's really playing well for us. So fun is we always talk about we're not a one-man team. Elijah can't do the things he does if he doesn't
Right.
have help up front, and our guys have really offensively have just really done some great things up front.
We're talking Cherokee football with South Dole head coach Clark Duncan here on the Friday Main Event. Coach, as you look down that quad one, I think the winner of your game tomorrow night will face the Daniel Boone Knox Halls winner. I feel Coach Cummings has done a great job with that Hall squad this year. And then you got Boone. They seem to be hitting their stride at the right time. I'm sure you guys saw film on them while you were preparing for Cherokee.
Right.
What's your thoughts on that game?
Well, Halls is in our region,
Right.
and so we know a lot about Halls, and Coach Cummings and I go way back. He was a head coach at West
Mm-hmm.
when I was a head coach at Powell,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I came to South Doyle in 2014, we played them in the quarterfinals the year they won it. And I've always said I felt like the state championship game was played at our place in the quarterfinals between us and West because we both had exceptional teams, and they ended up winning it. So we go way back. We know each other very well. And yes, he's done a great job. They've been down a little bit, and they came in. They won the first 5 or 6 in a row, and and now they're playing a really good football. Got a really good tailback,
Mm-hmm.
and I watched Boone, and because we had the film with Boone and Cherokee, and Boone looks a lot like Halls.
Mm-hmm.
Very they're going they'll play 9, 10 people in the box, and they're going to run right at you downhill, so I think it's going to be a big game, a good game between the two of them. I really don't care who we play. We want to play whichever one's not as good as the other one.
There you go.
Yeah.
I hear you. Well, Coach Duncan, I know you got stuff to do, buddy, but Lee and I, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk a
Yes,
little
sir.
football with us tonight. And if you guys are able to move on as we expect, maybe we can get you on again at some point.
Yes, sir. We'd love to do that. And I really appreciate you guys calling me.
All
Thanks,
right,
Coach
Coach. Good
Duncan.
luck to you, buddy.
Thank you, now.
All right. See you, Coach. All right, Lee. Coach Clark Duncan. I enjoyed that interview.
Yes, sir.
He's a good dude, man. Good, real good football coach.
Oh, yeah. Been around a long time, seen a lot of football.
Yeah, like he said, he was a Vol in the late 70s under Johnny Majors, and he's been pretty much coaching football ever since then, other than a brief stint at AD. Yep. I think if they hadn't lost that starting quarterback,
Bring.
Yeah, if they hadn't lost him earlier in the year, and I'm not saying that, they're not good now, but I'm just thinking about how good they could have been had they, because he was a 3-year starter at quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Anytime you're replacing a 3-year starter and as a senior and then you bring it in a sophomore, you're going to expect a little bit of a curve and a learning curve there. And
Right.
But he's been blessed to have Elijah, Young, in the backfield there to lean on, and the kid's a stud.
Mr. Football finalist or semifinalist.
And they're playing really good on defense side of the ball too. So,
yeah.
Coach Duncan, he knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah, no doubt. All right, Mr. Teat. Well, let's throw a schedule up here, a schedule or two. We won't take a full break, and we'll call Coach Whitten and get him on. So this is a Friday Main Event, and we'll be back in a minute. All right, we are back here Friday main event. I'm Mike Molder. He is Lee Teat. We're talking postseason, round one. Lee, we've covered the first four classifications, 1 through 4. Just got off the phone with Clark Duncan, head coach over at South Doyle, and now we've got another East. And we get accused of being partial to the East side a lot, don't we? All
Yes,
those
sir.
West sides. So we got two guys from the East tonight. But how could you not? If you get a chance to talk to a guy's 10-0 and has got the coaching record, Coach Sean Witten as guide, how could you not get? Coach, we appreciate you joining us.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on.
Coach, first off, again, I want to thank you for speaking to us tonight, but congrats on that undefeated regular season. I know that isn't the end goal, but, that's always a great achievement for any team to look back on their high school career. And, anytime you can end with a undefeated regular season, that's pretty special.
Yeah, it is. It's our first undefeated season since 1951. We've had
Wow.
several teams go 8-2, several teams go 9-1, but we capped it off this year. It's really sweet. When we won 3 games where we were trailing, we found a way to win it. And doing it with only 11 seniors. So it's a great to to be able to accomplish that since 1951. So it's 68
Wow.
years in the making. The way that we did it, it's pretty special, and our kids have really, like I said, we won 3 games in the fourth quarter. We were down where we weren't, supposed to win or come back and do it. We found a way, and it's just exciting. That makes it even sweeter. That the way that you're able to win those games. When you go 10-0 and you can just kind of breeze through the season, that's one thing. But when you can fight through and find a way to win, it's pretty special.
Yes, sir.
Well, Coach, we just spoke of some high school careers. You and your brother Jason, who, in our opinion, is the best tight end probably ever to play in the NFL. Both of you guys there played at Elizabethton, and I think you're the older brother by a little bit. Were you surprised when he decided to return to football this year?
Well, I think I was more surprised when he actually announced his retirement because I thought that you'd have to try to drag him off the field, And then I think he was just given an opportunity. He took it. I wasn't surprised at all because I knew deep down he missed being, out there on the field and in the locker room with the teammates, And I think, as he traveled around the country, commentating several football teams, he found out that, if he could still play, he wanted to be back out there. So I think it's just a testament to him that after all these years, at 37 years old, how many people can go back and do something that they really love. And,
Right.
and he's been fortunate enough to take care of his body and put himself in great position. And, when you play for the Dallas Cowboys too, it's a franchise like no other. It's
Right.
he's been blessed. So it's pretty neat when you're 37 years old. You can go back and do those things. So it's exciting to see him back out to performing, and not just performing, but performing at a high level.
Yes,
right.
sir. He is. Well, Coach, we're getting a little nostalgic here, but I did look back on the record for Elizabeth in 1998, your senior year there, I believe. I think you guys lost to Maryville by 4 in the semifinal. How did that team compare to the team you got this year?
Well, I think every team is different. The way you're equipped. A lot of times, you can have guys that are bigger, faster, stronger. You can have guys that have exceptional talent.
Mm-hmm.
I think this year's football team that we have, we're just built to last. We don't have, we're not the prettiest in some positions. We're not the best in some positions. We just find a way. We just have that grit. We have that toughness. There's teams in our quadrant and our bracket. If you flip a coin, it's kind of any team can take the lead, And I think for our football team, we somehow we don't really score a lot of points. We don't really, we don't really put up, play the flashiest game. We just find a way, and that's what our football team is this year. We just find a way. We're built on toughness and grit and determination, and our guys have really got a great team chemistry, and we've come really close together over the last 11 weeks. And, it's been really special. I think we've got a lot of guys that, come to work every day with that blue-collar type mentality. That's what our program is built on. Whether, 1998 group is better than this group, our program across the state has been a blue-collar football team. We're a small school that plays a really tough competition. We pride ourselves on having a great community at school and a football program. We're, proud of our rich tradition and our culture we have here. We have a bunch of guys that play really hard, that they have a chip on their shoulder, that kind of the underdog type mentality. And in order to have great teams, you got to have great leaders. And you don't have to be a senior just to be a leader. So we got a lot of great young players that have kind of stepped up for this year. We've had a lot of great individual moments, that have been deciding our season along the way. And each week we have somebody different steps up for us.
Well, Coach, you played a very difficult schedule beginning with Science Hill to start the season, and then you finally got the kryptonite off your back with the Greenville win. But then you narrowly escaped with a win the following week against Sullivan South. Did you see that Sullivan South game as a learning experience for your team and how they've got to come ready to play each week get here in the playoffs?
For sure. A lot of times, getting ready for one game is not the difficult task.
Right.
It's following up with another difficult game.
That's right.
With us playing Science Hill, we have all summer to get ready for them, and we know after that game, we got a few games we can catch our breath. And when the Greenville game came, and then it's just kind of a perfect night for Sullivan South. If we beat Greenville and here they come again, to kids get to play the number one team. And it was just a night that it wasn't that we played bad, or it wasn't we weren't prepared, or it wasn't we weren't ready. It's just we just didn't capitalize on some opportunities. We had some situations go out we really didn't take advantage of offensively. We allowed them to hang around, and they made it a really good game, And so, Sullivan South was a really big football team, and I think as you go back through games and you find a way to win it, we're learning about a lot about ourselves. We're learning about our teammates. We're learning about the situations and the tougher the game, the more you need dependable players. The more we need to stick and do our job. The more that we practice these situations in the game and practice, we got to do a really good job of them in the game. So, we got a smart team. A team that can really adjust week to week, a team that's really listens to the winning edges each week, really understands the game plans that maximize every ounce of opportunity that we have, and for sure that's what our season has been really on, not just 1 week at a time, but we've really learned from the past, we've learned from mistakes, we've learned from where we've not really been our best, and we try to learn from those mistakes and not allow those mistakes happen the next week.
We're speaking with Elizabeth and head coach Sean Witten here on the Friday Night Event. Coach, we felt with the graduation of Carter Everett and a pretty good senior class last year, potentially this will be a rebuilding year for you guys. I know you mentioned, you only got 11 seniors, but sophomore Bryce Rollins, man, that kid has really stepped up. In addition to being deadly accurate, I think he's got over 70% completion rate. He's also rushed for 600 yards, 10 TDs. I think you guys started Cade mopping that first game behind center, but, you couldn't really deny what Bryce brings to the table, could you, Coach?
Well, 17 weeks ago, it was pretty scratch on their head who's going to be the quarterback. And all of a sudden we got Cade Moffin from Kingsport, and it just kind of fell into place. The first game against John City, they both played quarterback. I mean, I think that, Cade had 22 snaps at quarterback that night. Bryson had 19 snaps that night at quarterback, and it just kind of worked itself out, and then over the course of the next week and in practice, it just kind of became evident that Bryson just had a poise and a command and a leadership ability, the ability to extend plays and make plays with his feet. He had a confidence about him being in our system a year ago as a freshman, playing running back. he's just real familiar with our schemes and the coaching points that, he heard me harp on Carter for the last year. Just he put us in a great chance to be successful. And I think that, everything that we were teaching Cade coming here for his senior year, like every play, every scheme, everything we did was just brand new. And I think Bryson being around, just hearing it, understanding what we needed and what we wanted, and then Bryson's just done a great job all year long of leading us. He's got us out of bad plays into good plays. He's done a great job, like I said, of us. He's got a knack of seeing the blitz or seeing defenders, and
can't
really
coach that, can you? You can't really coach that, can you?
You really can't, and those are intangibles that make you a great team. And when all else fails, the guys have to look to somebody, and they've got to know that, hey, when we need a play, when we need this, when we need that, we need a spark, that he's going to bring it to us. But I tell you, his poise and confidence is really it's incredible. The fact that 2 days ago he turned 16 years old. It's just remarkable, that we are where we are, and we've got the players in certain positions, and we've made it this far with a sophomore quarterback. It's pretty amazing. His credit goes to him and his family. He's done an outstanding job.
Coach, we were talking about Cade Maupin there, who I think still lines up in the backfield as a running back for you. He's got 1,100 yards and 8 TDs this season. Talk a minute about Cade and his contribution to your success, and him, even having the wherewithal to step aside to let a sophomore come in and play quarterback. He's, still continue to play at a high level.
Well, Cade was a little bit of a missing piece. We just needed somebody that had that experience, that had just kind of been there, done that, that played 6A football. That kind of gave us a boost of confidence that, hey, he was the missing piece. And he's really done a great job at the running back position. He's really surprising me at the end of the game, how he's ended up with 17, 18, 20 carries a game, and just he's done a significant job of that. He's played a big-time role in Steinfeld game, the Greenville game. Every time we've needed him, he's played a big game, and so he's a bigger body. He's almost 210 pounds, so he's able to take on more of the load behind the line of scrimmage. And we've done a great job of trying to keep people off balance with Bryson and Cade at the running back position. We try to do a good job of, not knowing where the ball is going to go to, and he's done a great job of catching the ball in the backfield. He's just really been what we've needed. It's hard to put your finger on it, what he brings to our football team, but it's I think it's the confidence, it's the ability that, the experience, and, knowledge is a great thing because, the more times you've been there, the more you understand. And I think that, when people play Elizabeth and they forget that, Cade Maupin is a 6A football player, and he has 6A football ability and speed and athleticism, and, he's kind of had a lot of big plays for us. You talk about big plays, he plays for over 15, 20 yards. He has the ability that any time in the Steinfeld game, he had a rush for 41 yards. In the Greenville game, he had one for 50. Against Daniel Boone, he took one for 80. Against Sullivan South, he took one for 70. So he has the ability that every time he touches it, he can take it the distance.
That's great. Well, Coach, we won't hold you up, man. We appreciate you taking a little time to talk to us over here. And just to let you know, man, when I filled out my 1A ballot last week, when Lee and I did, we had a young sophomore, Bryce Rollins, on it. So I was real congrats to him making the semifinal list this week.
Yes, sir. We thank you for having us on so much. We appreciate taking the time out to interview and promote our program. And thank you so much, and appreciate it.
Good luck to you next week, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Lee, I don't guess I was supposed to say next week. I was just kind of giving him the win this week, wasn't I?
Well, I am too, so.
That's great, man. He's good. He's a good dude, man. I enjoyed that interview.
Well, we've said it how many times? If you just removed Greenville, for the last 2, 3, 4 years, Elizabethton's probably sitting on a couple state titles.
Yeah, absolutely. Them Anderson County won. Yeah,
I mean,
those two teams.
phenomenal football being played up in there.
Yep. I noticed you put that kryptonite in there.
Yeah, he got rid of it.
I liked how you snuck that in. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he got rid of it.
Yeah, he did, no doubt.
Yep.
All right, Lee. Well, I'll tell you what. We won't even take a break. We'll go right into. I know you got Nissan on the mind, don't you?
No, let's roll, man.
All right, we'll go on into 5A.
This is
a tough class, Lee.
very tough.
Is that what you was fixing to say?
Yeah, that's the one that gave me trouble, man.
It's tough. 5A to me, year in and year out.
More parity, you think?
Yeah, more parity, no doubt. It's harder to predict, I think, than the other classes. Usually you got a pretty serious front runner like an Oakland, or a Peabody and Alcoa. The other classes, you got at least one team is going to be on one side of the bracket every year. 5A, you rarely can say that.
That's right.
All right, Lee, 5A Quad 1 is one of those quads that's going to be tough to pick, and we just got through talking to one guy, Coach Duncan there at South Doyle is in this particular quad, and, like you said, a tough quad to pick, and I think the first game up here, even though Tennessee has looked really good, Gibbs has played some good football. They've won 4 in a row now, Lee. The only losses were to Ray County, South Doyle, and Halls. But Mike May's Tennessee team, man, with the one loss to Dobbins Bennett, they've now won 9 in a row. Don't you have to put them as a favorite in this one?
I like the Vikings. I know I was looking through Donovan's picks, and he took Gibbs in this ball game, I think.
That don't surprise me. I think this is going to be a good game.
I do too, but I like Tennessee at home.
Yeah, I'm with you, Lee. I'm going with Tennessee also, but
tight ball game.
Tight ball game, I think. Gibbs. Now they did get beat pretty handily, I think, by South Doyle, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what score that one was, but I'm going to go with Tennessee. I'm going to agree with you. And then you got defending state champion Knox Central. They've lost 2 games in a row to South Doyle. And this same Gibbs team we were just talking about,
right.
And that may be why Donovan went that way. I actually forgot about that game. I'm kind of rethinking my pick now. You are too, ain't you?
No.
So you sticking with the Vikings. What if I want to use my mulligan? Can I use my mulligan?
Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna stick with them. Central, man, but they're not the only one. Crockett has lost 3 games. Tennessee, Daniel Boone, and Morristown East. So this is 2 teams that started out, on fire, and they've kind of fizzled the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
So who you like in this one?
I like Knox Central at home.
I do too. Crockett, man, I don't really know what's happened to them. But I wish I knew. I was thinking, Lee, maybe they had a player that got hurt or something. So I went back and I looked over their stats, and most of their big contributors, and mainly I'm talking about Cade Larkin.
Yeah.
He's still putting up big numbers. Prince Colley's putting up big numbers. So I don't know what's happened to them. I really thought I would go back and look at their stats and I would see Larkin got injured or something.
Yeah, something let up.
But I don't really know what's going on. I'm gonna go with you though. I'm gonna go Central. Daniel Boone and Knox Halls. This is a tough one to pick, Lee. I'm gonna take the road team in this one.
Me too. I'm going Halls.
I'm gonna take Scott Cummins Red Devils. They lost to Powell. They lost to Central, and they lost to South Doyle. That's a pretty dead gum. Good group of 3 losses right there.
Yes, it is.
So and Daniel Boone is playing really good. Brendan Blair, their running back, ran for 205 yards and 3 touchdowns against Cherokee last week. So they've got some firepower.
Won 5 straight.
5 straight. So you don't want to flip?
Mm-mm.
You sure, Lee?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going to let you do it if you want to.
No, I'm going Halls.
You got your mind made up, don't you?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to slip another cough drop in, Lee. I'm gonna go Halls. I'm gonna stick with them as well. Last game down here, South Doyle, Clark Duncan, who we just spoke with, his Cherokees, Lee, lost to Anderson County, and of course that was I think that was a week after they lost their starting quarterback, and then they lost to Seymour when Young was out. He got kicked out of the game, and then they lost to Powell by only 3 points.
That's right.
Good Cherokee team here.
South Doyle.
South Doyle Cherokees to beat the Cherokee Chiefs.
Yes, sir.
I'll agree with you. Was we the same on all them? I think we picked them the same, didn't we? Yeah, we did.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Lee. Moving on down. We'll move on down to quad 2 now.
We're still here.
We're still here. Mike, Lee. Lee's a good-looking one.
I don't know about all that, bro.
He's in the middle of no shave November, though.
That's right.
Uh,
Hope you ain't watching, Mom.
my wife made me shave. She said it'd be no something else November, so I shaved.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
I'm talking about Diet Cokes. Get your mind out of the gutter. Quad 2. Lee, what do you think?
Pal.
Powell over Lenore City. 1-9 Lenore City Panthers go down in flames to the Powell Panthers. Matt Lowe's squad. We had Matt Lowe on with us this year, too.
Yep.
We've had a lot of good coaches on with us this year, Lee.
Yes, sir.
Ray County, Mark Pemberton, another coach that joins us regular. I don't think we had him on this year. We had him on last year. Actually, I did. I had him on in a scrimmage back in spring. Host Fulton and Rob Black's teams caught fire, Lee Teat. They finished 3-1 with wins over Clinton, Campbell County, and Oak Ridge after they began the season 0-6. What's your thoughts on this one?
A little bit scary game for Ray County.
It is a scary game for Ray County. Marcellus Jackson had he caught 9 passes for 171 yards last week. He made 7 tackles, intercepted 2 passes, returned one of them for a touchdown. So
I'm going to go Ray County at home. And you all right, buddy?
I think I'm going to live,
Yeah.
maybe.
I'm going to go Ray County at home, but I think this might be a little closer than most think.
Well, Fulton found a quarterback, too, Jeffrey Riddle.
That's
I think
right.
that's the position they struggled with. He had 309 yards, 2 total touchdowns, 1 rushing, 1 passing last week. In that, what I would consider upset win over Oak Ridge, 27-26.
Yeah, you would think Region 3 might be a little tougher than Region 4. But I'm gonna stay with Ray County at home.
I'm going to split with you. I'm going to go Fulton. I think he's got a whole lot of young kids, Lee, that got a lot of playing time in that 0-6 start, and that's paying dividends for him
And
now.
you know he knows how to coach.
You know he knows how to coach. Not that Mark Brenner
No,
doesn't.
I mean, especially like playoff type football.
I do like Mark Pemberton's quarterback. I forget his name right now, Lee, but he's a young kid, big kid. He's about 6'4", 6'5". I saw him down in Franklin County back in the summer. I like that kid. I think it's a close game.
Yeah, I like Ray County at home.
All right, I'm going to go Fulton. I'm going to go opposite. West hosts Walker Valley, and you got to be happy about Drew Atkins, man. They, I think, they go 2 or 3 years without winning a game. I think they won 2 games last year, and they had to forfeit them. But the Walker Valley folks have got to be happy with what he's been able to do there. But season ends tomorrow night.
Yes, sir, West.
Lamar Brown's Rebels, they're playing really good football right now. Their only
up.
loss was a 1-point loss to Powell this year.
Right.
And I think you're gonna probably see those teams in a rematch there in the 3rd round. Saudi Daisy hosts Oak Ridge. Lee, Joe Gass's team again upset, I think, by Fulton last week. Do they recover?
Yes.
So you like the Wildcats?
Like Oak Ridge on the road.
And they lost to Hardin Valley, DB, West, Powell, and Fulton last week. So they had some pretty tough losses. They did beat Mount Juliet when they come up here. Remember that? So yeah, I'm gonna go with you. I like Oak Ridge also to go on the road and beat
There's your upset.
the Trojans.
Coach Bates.
There's your upset.
That's a 4
That's
versus
what he
a
was
1.
calling for, wasn't it?
That's a 4 versus a 1.
That's right, in 5A.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Lee, we're still here. Hello. Wave to the crowd. we're gonna go on into 5A Quad 3, Lee. And
Difficult.
You're exactly right. I talked to Will Rabb this week about this particular quad, and we had Beach preseason number 1, Lee, and they haven't really done anything to make us get off of that. But I think top to bottom, this is probably the toughest quad. I think 2nd round matchups in this quad will be amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
And 1 first round matchup is going to be amazing. I think Page has no problem with Hunter's Lane.
That's correct.
I think Charles Rathbone's squad with Mr. Football candidate.
Walker.
Cade Walker. He's the semifinalist. I think he walks easy win here against Hunters Lane.
Think so.
This Gallatin Summit game, I'm really interested in this one, Lee. That's I've considered heading up to Gallatin to watch this one tomorrow. This is about one of about 3 games that I'm thinking about.
I tell you what, man, I like Gallatin at home. That's a tough place to win, tough place to play, and I think the fan base will come out tomorrow night in droves. It'll be interesting though. Is Summit's quarterback? He's been up and down and off and on all year, in and out.
I think he's back now, Lee.
If he's back, now he's a game changer, man.
He is a game changer.
Him and his brother both, but he's a game changer. I just think tomorrow night, if this weather kind of stays the way it is too, I like Briggs at Gallatin, Spencer Briggs. By the way, he got his first Division I offer today from Toledo.
That's his first one?
From a FCS school.
Oh, really? I didn't
or
know that.
FBS schools.
Okay.
So congrats to him. But I like Gallatin, but I tell you what, man, I wouldn't be surprised if this ball game is a 17-14 type game.
I think Odomegwu might be the difference in this game. I think he might be the difference. Destin Wade, the quarterback you talked about, he, as far as I know, Lee, he is back and playing good now. His brother Keaton Wade has also played good.
Mm-hmm.
This was the one I struggle with, man, because Summit typically does really good in the postseason. They've run up into Beach a couple of times.
This is a terrible matchup for both of them in the first round. It's just
you shouldn't have this tough a matchup in the first round.
Man, it's rough. I just like Gallatin at home. That's the only reason, man. They lost a 14-10 ball game to Beach.
Yeah, and of course Summit lost to Page without their starting quarterback. And they lost to Shelbyville. I'm not sure if Wade was there for that game or not. But, you know, the 2 losses are 2 good teams. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go Green Wave. But I would not be surprised if we see an upset right here.
All right.
If you would call that an upset. I don't even know that you ever classify as an upset.
Like I said, this is tough right here.
Shelbyville and Hillsboro, this is another game I'm considering going to. Lee, proximity is pretty close to me. Eagles get a home game against Hillsboro. Hillsboro has had the better of Shelbyville the last 2 or 3 times they played, but Shelbyville's got something they haven't had the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, and that's size. They always have speed. They always have skill positions, but they've got a really good line this year.
I think you're right. I think I like Shelbyville at home, but Hillsboro's played a brutal schedule, man. Innsworth, Gallatin, Pearl-Cone, Beach, Cane Ridge.
Yeah.
That's pretty rough, man.
That's real rough.
So I expect them to come out and compete.
Yeah, no doubt.
I definitely expect them to come over to Shelbyville, compete, make it a ball game. But I like Shelbyville, like you said. I think they're finally good up front.
Yeah, I think so too. And I like Cade Cunningham, the young sophomore quarterback. That's my adopted son. I love Cade. He's a good kid. Columbia at Beach, Lee. Jason Holt's squad has had a really good season. Losses were to Summit, Page, Nolensville, and Shelbyville. And they did beat, who was it? We were talking about Stratford, wasn't it? I think they beat Stratford. So, good ball team, but, we're going to Beach to face Anthony Crabtree squad. I don't think they get by them.
Yeah, Beach is too good.
Yep. I like Beach. All right, Lee, let's quickly move down to Quad 4. Henry County hosts Ridgeway. And Henry County, after 2 opening losses to Haywood and Beach to start the season, they've been on a good run, including a win over a really good Brentwood squad.
Yeah, I know it.
So I like them to beat Deron Sutton's Roadrunners tomorrow night. Henry County, Munford, and Clarksville. This is a pretty good 2-3 matchup right here. Munford lost to Springfield, Stewart's Creek, Henry County, and Dyer County. So they played a pretty. That's not right. Is that right? That record can't be right there. I got something wrong there. So I'm showing they got 4 losses. But I'm showing I got something wrong there. But anyway, I got Munford at 7-3. I've got something wrong in my notes here. But what I'm getting at, I think it's going to be a good matchup.
Oh, here it is. Munford lost to Covington, Southwind, and Evangelical Christian, and Clarksville lost to.
Did I get them backwards?
Yes, sir. That's what that is.
Sorry about that.
I'm gonna go Clarksville
Going
on
Clarksville.
the road.
Isaac Shelby had his alma mater, Clarksville. Lee Teat. Tempted to go against you on this one. I'm going to go against you on this one.
Well, you're going with a 2 seed over a 3 seed. That's what most people would do. I'm going.
No, I mean, I think Region 7 may be. Well, I don't want to say that. Kirby and Dyer County. What you got? Who you got in this one? Dyer County's 8-2. Losses to Henry County and McCracken, Kentucky, and Kirby's losses were to Southwind and Munford.
Yep. Dyer County at home.
I took Munford, didn't I? Munford beat Kirby. I feel a little bit better about that now.
Yep.
I didn't realize that. That's all right. So I'm gonna go Kirby. Who'd you say you was going with?
I'm gonna go Dyer County at home.
Dyer County at home.
Yes, sir.
And in the last game in that quad, Lee Southwind hosts Kenwood, 2-6-4 teams. Kenwood lost to Collierville, Center Hill, Mississippi, Ridgeway, and Houston.
Southwind.
I'm going Southwind also. All right, Mr. Teat, that'll close out Class 5A right on time. We're doing pretty good so far. We'll move quickly. I didn't even have that one up, I don't think. I didn't. I still had 3. I'll put it up right quick. They can pause it. Y'all can pause it and look at that. We done talked about it. Hit the pause button. There we go. You got to remind me to do that, man. I forgot to put that quad up for them. I'm all into my cough drop here. All right, Lee, you ready for Class 6A?
Let's roll with it.
One more segment here, brother. And 6A this year, I think it's top heavy. I don't think you're going to see a lot of upsets in 6A. In this particular quad here, Lee Teat, Dobbins Bennett, I think probably the only team in this quad that could potentially make some noise as far as playing with Maryville. DB's played well. They lost to Science Hill and they lost to Alcoa. Of course, the Science Hill upset was the one that everybody was kind of scratching their head about.
Correct.
Because Science Hill is sitting at 4-6. So I don't really know what happened in that one.
I like Dobbins Bennett.
I like DB over William Blunt.
Yes.
Coach Shadowins. Good for Coach Shadowins getting the Governors into the playoffs this year, Lee. I think they had a 1-point win over our buddy Coach Marty Wheeler to make the playoffs. So good job there by Coach Shadowins getting his Governors in. McMinn County, the Cherokees have played some really good football. Their only loss
To Maryville.
was to Maryville, and then you got Bearden. Morgan Schindler, his team's played pretty good football also, Lee. They've come on late, won 4 of their last 5. They lost to Maryville. They lost to West. They lost to DB. They lost to Bradley Central, and they lost to McMinn County. But, as I stated, they won 4 of the last 5. So they're playing good here late in the season.
I like McMinn County at home.
I'm thinking about pulling the trigger here, Lee, but I'm going to go with Bokegel. I'm going to go with them. Swapping over the spread this year has definitely worked out for them from that wing tee. So I'm going to go with them. I'm with you. Farragut hosting Bradley Central. This should be a really good game here. Farragut lost to West, Oak Ridge, Maryville, DB, and Hardin County. So at 5-5, probably a little bit worse record than I thought the Admirals would have beginning the season.
Me too. But I'll tell you what, I think they might be done after tomorrow night. I'm gonna go Bradley Central.
I think I'm going to go with you, Lee. I like Bradley. Damon Floyd's squad's played pretty good ball this year.
They lost to Farragut early.
They did lose to Farragut earlier, but I think I'm going to like them in a rematch.
Me too.
I don't know why. Of course, Bradley did, like you said, lost to Farragut. They lost to Maryville, lost to McMinn County, but I don't know. Something's telling me in the rematch to go Bradley. That's probably a dumb decision considering it's at Farragut. You don't change your mind? So you sticking with it?
Yeah, I like Bradley Central.
I like Maryville to walk over Science Hill.
Yes,
and spent a lot of time talking about that one. Coach Hunt's team should have no problem with them. They should have no problem with anybody in this region, just to be straight up
That's correct.
in this quad. Quad 2 and kind of the same situation. You got Kevin Creasy's Oakland team should dominate everybody. Unfortunately, your buddy Chuck Gentry Lee, he lost a couple of games down the stretch, including Wilson Central, which sealed his fate
That's
here,
right.
having to travel to Oakland.
Yeah, Oakland big, man.
Yeah. Too many horses.
Too many horses.
Mount Juliet, Riverdale, Lee. I like this game right here. Will Christie's squad should have beat Blackman. Lost to Smyrna, lost to Oakland. They're playing really good. And Mount Juliet's kind of went in the opposite direction. They lost to Stewart's Creek, lost to Gallatin, lost to Oak Ridge, and then the Hendersonville loss last week knocked them down to second place in the region.
That's right.
And you know they're not playing like as well as they were when we saw them. I don't think. I'm gonna go Riverdale. On this
I am too. On the road.
on the road. Blackman and Wilson Central Lee, Kid Hartsville's team playing good football now. They had some early losses to Alcoa, Ravenwood, Indy, and then of course they lost to Oakland more recently. But pretty good ball team right there. And they played Wilson Central, Brad Dedman's squad. They lost. They went on a 4-game losing streak mid-season, but they've played better the last couple of weeks, including that win over Lebanon.
It's true.
I think Blackman wins this one.
I do too. At home.
At home. Hendersonville, Cookville, Lee Teat. What about you, buddy, Jimmy Maynard? They got any shot in this one?
I don't think so, Mike.
Hendersonville's tough to beat at home.
I do too.
James,
And I think they're playing, coming on at the right time.
yeah, and their losses were to Oakland, Beach, Indy, and Gallatin. Lebanon's probably the only loss they had that they probably should have won. But the other teams, I didn't think they had a chance then when they played them. All right, Lee. Did I have a quad? I didn't. I didn't have. You got to remind me, dude.
They put quad 2 up.
Quad 2's up and done been discussed. So I'm gonna go ahead and
Put quad 3.
I'm gonna go ahead and put
Excuse
quad 3 up, and we'll talk about it. Hang in there, partner. We're coming to the home stretch here, and looking at quad 3. This is a tough quad, Lee. Eddie Woods, we get to see them against Ravenwood. I think was it been 3 weeks ago, and or maybe it's 2 weeks ago. I don't remember for sure. But anyway, got an improved Franklin Rebel squad coming to town.
What do you think on this, man? They've won 4 of their last 5 with Nichols at quarterback, Franklin.
Yep. That was a move we were telling them to do back in week 1, wasn't it, Lee?
Yep.
I think Cane Ridge wins. I don't think it's as big a margin as what a lot of people think it will be. I think it'll be closer because if you'll remember, Franklin carried Indy to overtime recently.
That's right.
So yeah, I think it's closer than what you would expect. But I like Cane Ridge Ravens.
Yeah, I'll go Cane Ridge.
Ravenwood hosts Stewart's Creek. Stewart's Creek upset by Smyrna last week.
What a crappy first round game to have to have.
Yep, 9-1 Ravenwood hosting a 8-2 Stewart's Creek team. It's kind of like that Gallatin Summit game we were talking about. It's tough to see either one of these teams go home in the first round, but it's going to happen.
Yes, sir. It's at Ravenwood, so I'm going to give Ravenwood the edge.
I heard my buddy Dennis Weaver. Did you hear that? When he was on with Will Rabb last night, he picked Stewart's Creek to win this game, if I'm not mistaken.
No, listen. Stewart's Creek's got a ton of athletes. They're athletically, they can match them.
Well,
I mean, they can.
Dennis's theory was Stewart's Creek is very similar to Brentwood. They can run the ball.
Yes, sir.
And they're very disciplined. They don't make a lot of mistakes and kill themselves. And his argument was Ravenwood wasn't as disciplined a team as Stewart's Creek.
Jelks for Stewart's Creek is a good little ball player, man.
I'm surprised how small he is.
I just don't know. Against Ravenwood, can they stop Mason? The kid has the lights out receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And Garcia's
Garcia's
chunking the
playing
ball
really
around.
good.
He just chunks it up there to Mason. He runs under it, and they got a big tight end we saw. But I like Ravenwood at home, man, but this would not surprise me one bit. Stewart's Creek don't slip up and knock them off.
I like Ravenwood. They played good in the postseason. They made the semis last year. Matt Daniels' team seems to play good in the postseason. I like the Raptors to win this one. I'm looking forward to that rematch in week 2 between Cane Ridge and Ravenwood if that game, as we predict, happens. I think it'll be a good one. We'll talk about that next week if that
Another
happens.
interesting one right here.
Smyrna and Independence. This is at least the 3rd year in a row these two teams have matched up in the first round, Lee. And this is the other game that I was considering going to tomorrow night. Hadn't had a chance to see my buddy Matt Williams yet this year, so I may head over and see Coach Williams. Think a lot of him.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of him. He's a good coach, a good guy. They lost to Ravenwood, Cane Ridge, Centennial, and East Nash when they did have that upset against Stewart's Creek last week to get a home game.
Mm-hmm.
And Dodge Ravenwood. But what do you think?
I don't know, man. I think
You got Bishop.
I think Indy tomorrow night. Well, man, what if it's raining and snowing?
Well, it is supposed to be cold. I know that. It's supposed to be cold as hell.
That favors Smyrna?
I don't have a clue. Not sure.
This is a tough pick,
Yeah,
buddy.
it is a tough pick.
I'll tell you what, I'll go Smyrna home.
I'm leaning in that direction too, for the simple fact they knocked off Stewart's Creek last week in a cold game, so maybe they play good in the cold.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go Smyrna, and that, in my opinion, that's a 2 over a 3, but that's an upset because the Indy. I guarantee you, most people are picking Indy.
Oh, yeah.
I come into tonight planning to pick Indy, but you mentioned the weather and Smyrna at home, and they've lost 2 in a row in the postseason. It may happen. Brentwood hosts McGavick. Brentwood all the way. This game's not even close.
Yep.
McGavick won 3 games over Overton, Antioch, and Laverne to make the playoffs. So.
Yep.
Big mismatch. Houston and Germantown lead. Germantown's kind of fallen off the map. Tommy Farrell hasn't had a good debut as the head coach there at Germantown. 2-8. They only beat Father Ryan and Kip. That was only 2 wins this year. And then Houston has played lights out Lincoln Park. Another big game last week. 272 yards, 3 scores in that win over Southwind. Southwind's a really good football team.
That's right. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb right here, man, and tell you if Lincoln Parr is not a finalist
Oh, yeah.
for Mr. Football, somebody's missing something.
Yeah.
That kid, if you see his highlight reel, he is phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree, Lee.
I like Houston in this.
I do too. White Station, Bartlett. Excuse me. The Panthers are 6-4, and White Station Spartans also 6-4. What's your thoughts on this one?
I'm going to go White Station.
I'm going White Station. I like the Spartans.
Yep.
Reed Yarborough's had a good season so far. Taking the place of this guy, Joe Riccone, Coach Riccone took over the Collierville program, and the Dragons have played really well. Their losses were to Arlington, Houston, Memphis Central, but he beat his former team, White Station, during the regular season. They've got Memphis Central, who lost to Whitehaven, White Station, Houston, and Cordova. Tough game to pick right here, Lee.
Yeah, can Collierville beat Memphis Central twice?
I don't know. I guess that's the question. They beat them 35-28 the first time.
Well, they lost to Memphis Central. Is what I mean. Can they come back and get them, or can Memphis Central?
Oh yeah. You're right. You're exactly right.
I misspoke.
It was a 7-point game.
Can Memphis Central beat Collierville twice?
Twice. It's tough to beat a good team twice. I'm gonna go Collierville.
I'm gonna go Warriors. Memphis Central.
That's a coin flip for me. I like Whitehaven. Whitehaven has shut out the last 4 opponents. Lee, they've got 6 shutouts and 9 wins. That defense is phenomenal, led by those 3 solid linebackers. I like Whitehaven.
Yes, sir.
To win this game and face Houston in the quarters. Yep.
I believe you're right.
We'll pick that next week. All right, brother. That's Class 6A, and we hope you guys have enjoyed our playoff preview. Again, I'm Mike Molder, and he's Lee Teat. And we've picked all 64 games. How many of them do you think we'll get right? What are you happy with?
50.
50 out of 64? All right, I'm going to check you tomorrow. I think that's a good number. We got 60 right, or we got 50 right, I think, maybe. What do you guys think? Put in the comments. No, I was just kidding.
I hope I feel better next week.
Yeah, you take it a little too hard, brother. You got to remember the games typically we pick are the tough ones to pick. We
Oh,
don't
yeah.
put the easy games on there, so you folks got to remember that. When our record, we don't have Donovan Stewart's percentage of picks correct, but he's picking all the games. You know,
We're picking 25 of the biggest.
yeah, when Greenback is playing Utica, well, duh. I think I get that pick right 100% of the time, won't
You
you?
hear that, Donovan? I think he's slamming you, man.
Just a little bit.
I think he's gouging.
He can handle it, can he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just picked the tough games, so we're not going to have the record of a lot of other guys.
Right.
But tonight, hopefully, we'll have a decent record. All right, so that's been the Friday main event, first round coverage. Appreciate Coach Duncan. We appreciate Coach Witten joining us tonight.
Yes, absolutely.
Appreciate you guys joining us. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so. We'll be back here again next week. Day to be determined. Lee, you need to check your wrestling schedule. Appreciate Lee. He missed his youngest son's wrestling match tonight.
He won, so that's good.
That's good. Maybe you just bad luck for him.
Yeah, he's wrestling it up. He's been wrestling up, man, several weight classes. So that's
Yeah.
a little tough, but it'll make him better.
Get his schedule next week. We won't schedule on the day he's wrestling next week. All right, for Lee Teat, I'm Mike Molder. This is the Friday main event. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week.